Welcome to this video on doing an annotated bibliography and research review for your term paper in Socio Anthro 3045. An annotated bibliography has two parts. First, a list of citations for sources like books, articles, and documents that you can use for your research. And second, annotations, which are paragraphs that describe and evaluate sources in terms of the following criteria: relevance, accuracy, and quality. For this annotated bibliography, you must describe and evaluate 5 academic sources, 2 peer-reviewed journal articles, and 3 academic books. Each annotation must be 200 words, and overall the bibliography is worth 15% of your final term mark. There are different approaches to writing annotations, but one is to describe each source in terms of the following criteria: purpose, scope, thesis, and outcome. Your evaluation of each source, that is its relevance, accuracy, and quality, is then based on this initial description. Here's an example of an annotated citation. The research question or idea is, how can academic librarians create a culture of assessment in their libraries? The source is Wang and Hurley's article, Assessment as a Scholarly Activity, Faculty Perceptions of and Willingness to Engage in Student Learning Assessment. This citation is written in APA style. Now let's take a look at the annotation. Here's the statement about the purpose of the study, the statement about the thesis of the study's scope, and the findings or outcomes of the study. And this section is the evaluation of the source in terms of its relevance, accuracy, and quality. And here is the final annotated citation. The sources you evaluate in your annotated bibliography can then be used for your research paper and in particular as the basis for your research review. The research review is a critical component of your paper because it's an overview of the academic research that's relevant to your topic. Sometimes it's called a literature or lit review. For this research review, you have to look at your topic from 3 perspectives: the sociological perspective, the anthropological perspective, and the human rights perspective. You have to consider the differences in approach, where scholars agree, and where they might disagree. This review requires that you use 10 peer-reviewed sources, and it's worth 15% of the final paper mark. So why do you do a research review? The purpose of the review is for you to demonstrate that you're aware of and understand the scholarly conversation or conversations around your topic, and in this case, from more than one perspective. The reason being that scholars in each area will be thinking about and discussing your topic or issue in different ways and with different vocabularies. So how do you find sources in these 3 fields? Well, let's say your general area of interest is girls and marriage. Useful tools are the library subject guides for sociology, anthropology, and human rights, and they're found on the library's homepage. Let's take a look. We'll start on the library's homepage at www.library.carleton.ca. We'll click on the link to subject guides, and then use the alphabet to navigate to the subject guide for sociology. Once on the main page of the guide, we'll click on Journal Articles, which gives us a list of databases that are relevant for the field, and then we'll click on the link to Sociological Abstracts, because that's the main database that we purchased for this field. Now we'll do a simple keyword search using girls and marriages. The star replaces multiple endings, so I'll get results with girl, girls, marriage, and marriages in the records. We'll click on peer reviewed, and then we'll search. Let's take a look at the second result. By reading the abstract, we can see that sociologists can consider this issue in terms of social, economic, and political determinants. Now, let's go to the subject guide for anthropology. We'll return to the library's homepage and again use the link to subject guides to find the subject guide for anthropology. We'll click on Journal Articles, and this time we'll use the link to Anthropology Plus because it's one of the main databases for this field. We'll do the same keyword search, but this time we can't click peer reviewed. It's not an option for this database. Now, let's take a look at the first article. This database doesn't provide us with an abstract, so we'll click on the Get It button, which gives us the option of going to the full text online. And here's the abstract. And if we read this abstract, we can see that anthropologists may use an ethnographic approach to this issue, which means they'll look at social customs and traditions. To make sure that this article is in a peer-reviewed journal, go to the database for the journal, in this case the American Anthropologist, and read the description to see if it's peer-reviewed. Finally, let's go to the subject guide for human rights. We'll go back to the library's homepage and navigate to the Human Rights Subject Guide. We'll click on Journal Articles, and this time we'll use PACE International because it has relevant material. We'll use the advanced search and our same keywords. And this time we can again click peer reviewed. Now let's scroll down and take a look at number 10. If we read this abstract, we can see that the human rights perspective may take into consideration gender issues and legal issues. So for the research review, you must consider your topic from all three perspectives. Just think of it as evaluating the various scholarly conversations that are happening in various fields about this issue. If you want more help finding sources, please visit us at the Research Help Desk located on the main or second floor of the Carleton University Library.